All right, welcome in. It is episode 50 of Reimer on the Road. That is Ann. I am Scott. Episode 50. Holy smokes.
That's hard to believe. I mean, that's 50 episodes of some great memories.
Yeah, a lot of great memories. 40,000 miles now in the beast. We just hit what number of national parks?
29. We just hit 29.
That's right. So, and a few more to go before this epic trip is over. If you haven't noticed, things are speeding up and speeding up fast. This episode is all about Bryce Canyon National Park and Capitol Reef National Park. But we are well beyond that, and you need to stay with Instagram if you want to keep up to date.
I mean, and I'm trying to keep up to date, but we are moving so fast. Sometimes I'm not going to have a post for every single location we've been, but I'm trying to at least every couple days post something on our location.
We had some family join us for episode 50, which made it really special.
Yeah, it was my brother, Rob, and his wife, Suzanne, joined us, and Suzanne surprised my brother. He didn't even know he was going to get to join us on this trip, and so it was a bonus that it was his birthday.
Yep.
And so we got to celebrate his birthday with him, which is something we've missed with other families and other family and friends while we've been on the trip.
So a lot going on here in episode 50, but we also want your feedback on where we're going next, and that is...
All right, so where we're going next is in the state of Texas. And I know Texas is a big state, and we've been to some places in Texas, but this time around we're going to hit San Antonio and Galveston.
And give us your feedback. You've already gotten some feedback.
I've already gotten some feedback from our good friend Catherine, who went there for spring break with her husband. And she gave me a long list of suggestions and tidbits. So thank you, Catherine. We will be using those.
So episode 50 with Rob and Suzanne joining us is all about Bryce Canyon National Park and Capitol Reef National Parks, number 2 and 3 of the Mighty Five for us. But there's some additions to this.
Yeah, so we have a lot of footage and photos of our drive from Bryce Canyon to Capitol Reef, and that was on Utah Scenic Highway 12.
Yes.
And it was, wow, totally worth going that direction. It took a little bit longer, well worth the drive. And then we also hit Goblin Valley State Park, which was very unique and was definitely worth the drive getting up there.
As you will see, in both of those areas are not part of the national parks of Utah, but certainly worth it. So you need to stay tuned. It's episode 50, Bryce Canyon, Capitol Reef, and some. Roll the tape. Bryce Canyon, by the name, is a big canyon, and the first part of our tour in Bryce Canyon was simply driving the scenic route where everything you look for is down because you're looking into the canyon.
Yeah, and that was actually suggested by our Guide Along app that we utilize, and he said just go to the very end of the scenic drive first. So at the top overlook, we did the Bristlecone Pine Trail, which I think was worth it. It wasn't very long. Gave some additional overlooks that you couldn't get from the main overlook, and it was a nice little walk.
Yeah, I thought that was a very easy hike, not a whole lot of elevation change. And you're right, it gave some unique perspectives of the canyon. also liked about the scenic overlook in Bryce Canyon is that if that's all you can do or have time to do or want to do, it is easy to do because you park. If you can find park, which we'll talk about that in a minute. If you can find parking, the walks to the overlooks are really short.
Yeah. There was just a few of them that were a couple hundred yards, but still doable. I mean, very easy. And each one kind of gave you a different perspective, all the way down into the amphitheater area, where you're there with the main attraction for some people, the hoodoos.
The lighting, depending on what time of day you go for the overlooks, can be great in either way, because as you look out over the canyon, you can look left and right. So really, no matter what time you go, you're going to get some color, some very vibrant color, one way or the other. And if it's in the middle of the day and the sun's way up high, you're getting colors everywhere.
Yeah, no, and it's, you know, they're known for their sunrises and their sunsets. We didn't actually tackle those this trip. I had done the sunrise before in a previous trip, and it's worth it, but it got really cold during our stay, so we decided not to venture out super early in 20-degree weather.
We have done some epic hikes, and really, most recently, we've done a lot of epic hikes. Utah certainly provides that, but going down into Bryce Canyon was one of the coolest things that we've done, and seeing the hoodoos and being down in the canyon gave you a totally different perspective of Bryce Canyon.
Looking up versus looking down, you're amongst the giants, and it just, totally different perspective. So as Scott mentioned, if the only thing you can do is the scenic drive, you're still going to have some wonderful scenery and views, and I think you will get a good taste of Bryce Canyon. But if you've got another 2 to 3 hours, I think it's worth doing one of their hikes to get down into the hoodoos and just sort of experience it. So the trail we did was a combo trail, and it was the Queen's Garden Loop to the Navajo Loop Trail. And we started on the Queen's Garden and went up Navajo Loop where Wall Street was, which was a lot of switchbacks, but an epic photo location and really popular for Bryce Canyon.
You need to remember when you're going down and enjoying that walk down amongst the hoodoos, that you're eventually going to have to go back up unless you want a helicopter out of there.
That's right. You got to go back up.
I do agree with you, though. Staring up at Wall Street was just epic. It's daunting when you look at it, but it's so beautiful. And then you can actually, and there's a lot of switchbacks there, and you can pull over, catch your breath.
We did.
No big deal there. But as you get higher on Wall Street, then the views back down Wall Street are great too.
Right.
So it really is whatever hike you choose to do, and there are multiple ones that get down amongst the hoodoos.
Yeah. I think Rob and Suzanne even did a different one.
That's right.
And I don't know, they may have actually done the Navajo Loop on its own.
But either way, it's going to come back up at Wall Street, and you're going to get that epic moment at Wall Street.
Absolutely.
Way down there, and that's not even the bottom. I don't believe.
I don't think
Is where we were walking. That is some elevation change right there. But it was an awesome hike. All right, we have got ourselves a lunch with a view.
Lunch with a view.
You just can't beat that. Capitol Reef National Park is one of those national parks where even before you get into it, you can see it way off in the distance, and man, does it pop with color.
It does, and it's, the colors, the cliffs, the formations, it just all kind of came together, and it surprised me. I don't know what I was expecting with Capitol Reef, but it's small and manageable, and you can get a lot done in a day to 2 days.
And diverse. There's a lot of things at the beginning of the park. Once you get down to the visitor center and take what is officially the Scenic Drive in Capitol Reef, but then also as you go to the other side of Capitol Reef National Park, it kind of opens up into another whole little world. The colors change, the scenery changes.
Yeah.
So the driving of Capitol Reef in itself can be a fun half day, full day for you to do.
And just totally different than what we were talking about. You also have the Fruta area, which is where the visitor center is.
Yep.
And it was inhabited many years ago, I think by the Mormons that came in, and they planted fruit trees, and so there's still the remnants of that. And so then this valley, very diverse, you come in and all of a sudden there's all this greenery fruit trees, and then there were also some petroglyphs.
Yeah, that's right.
In the park. So, it had a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. The petroglyphs right off the road.
Yeah.
Don't have to hike very far to get to them.
Not very far at all.
So that made that great. Can you explain to me what are we doing?
Well, when you come to Capitol Reef, you've got to go to the Gifford House.
The who?
The Gifford House.
Okay.
And you have to get their homemade pies.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see we've already gotten into a couple of them. We got a mixed berry.
That's the one I got into. That one's been hit hard.
Apple.
What is that?
That's
Okay,
the
apple.
apple.
All right.
Then we have strawberry rhubarb.
Okay.
And we have peach.
Okay.
So, and then our campground has scooped ice cream. And so we went over there and we got some vanilla ice cream to make it a la mode.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to do some taste testing, see which ones we like.
Not on this video, but we just finished dinner from this campground too, right?
Yeah,
we had some filet from the campground.
Some filet. The owner's, I think, dad is a rancher in this area, and so they have local, fresh, grass-fed. I think she said they throw in a little bit of corn, beef, and it was really good.
All right, so then we're gonna wash it down with ice cream from this campground.
That's right. That's right.
And the pies from Capitol Reef National Park inside the park.
That's right.
All right, well, let's do it. We did one primary hike inside of Capitol Reef National Park, and it reminded me, minus the water, of the Narrows in Zion. Some of the scenery was the same, especially as we got towards the end of the Grand Wash hike, when the mountains and the cliffs come right down on you.
You were basically in a slot canyon.
Slot canyon, but there was no water in the Grand Wash while we were there.
We were hiking through the wash.
And it was beautiful, and it was a relatively easy hike. You could go as far as you want.
Yep.
There's actually 2 parking lots on either side of the hike that if you wanted to traverse the whole canyon,
make it one way if you wanted to.
You just have to have somebody come pick you up on the other side. We didn't do that. We just walked out pretty much to the Narrows and then came back. And it was a good little time frame. It's a relatively easy hike. There's not a whole lot of elevation change because you're obviously in a creek bed or a river bed, a wash.
Although it had some difficulties. I mean, the sand moving under your feet, you were having to traverse over some rocks and stuff in some areas. So it felt like you were walking on a beach in some areas, even though it was, or pebbles.
Yeah.
And so you did kind of lose a little bit of your footing.
Yep.
So it wasn't as easy as walking on a paved path or something, because you're in a wash. You're walking down a riverbed.
connector trails that came in and out of the wash area that we didn't do, but you could do, and you could kind of look down upon the wash and some of the slot canyons. So, if you're really into hiking and really into making it a big hike, you can make it more than what we did, which was simply going up the wash, turning around into the Narrows, and coming back.
All right, so we are in the midst of the Mighty Five. We had family come see us. Yes, yay. Family. So family, as tradition, gets to put the 2 stickers on. So we have Bryce Canyon, Suzanne.
Bryce Canyon.
Yep, you have the honors. Now you got to do it good because people will comment on that if you don't do a good job.
Get it
nice
just
and
right.
Straight. Yep, it's got to be nice and straight and pretty and all that kind of stuff.
There we go.
Not bad, not bad. And then Rob, we're going to let you do
Awesome.
Capital Reef National Park. All right, again, the same rules. If it's not straight and it's not pretty, then people will comment about that in the comments. Let's see. Okay. I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Yep.
I think that's pretty solid. I think that's pretty solid. Well done. And we're continuing to add to the board.
All right.
Episode 50 is now in the books, and I think you can tell by some of the visuals that Utah surely does have a lot to offer. Yeah. You mentioned in the open the drive from Bryce Canyon to Capitol Reef, which in all honesty is a trip on its own because you go through a lot of things, including the Grand Escalante staircase.
Yeah.
Man, what a view.
Yeah, it's just it's really unbelievable, and it's one of the top scenic drives in the United States. And of course, we didn't know a whole lot about it. We did have our friend Brian who had gone a few years ago, and I remember him talking about it. I knew it was in that area, and he confirmed it was Utah 12. And wow, just the scenery changes. And of course, Scott was doing it pulling alley, so I was impressed. We just took our time, would pull off on the pull outs to look at the views. And if you can spend time, I think a lot of people like the Grand Staircase, the Escalante Grand Staircase National Monument, I think.
Yep.
And you could probably spend several days there doing different hikes and stuff. Obviously, we just drove through it, and it was totally worth it. So if you are going either from Capitol Reef to Bryce or Bryce to Capitol Reef, you need to make that part of your route.
One word of warning in that route is that you do hit some pretty hefty elevation when you get closer to Capitol Reef, so depending on which way you're coming. We were in April, which you can still see snow in that area.
They had their little snow poles up.
That's right. Ready. Yep, so watch the weather on that drive, especially that last part, which would be very treacherous. Almost like the Tahoe trail into Tahoe that we talked about a few episodes ago. You just have to kind of make sure you're clear of snow in that shoulder season time frame. We mentioned earlier that these 2 national parks by themselves are amazing, but when you throw in the Scenic Utah 12, that adds to it. And then, by the way, about a 90-minute drive or so from the side of the park that we were staying on in Capitol Reef was Goblin Valley State Park, and man, this place was awesome.
It was awesome, and it had some hikes. We didn't do any of the hikes. We went to see the goblins, which were very unusual formations, and they kind of reminded us, for some old school people, I don't know, maybe even some new school people, like Smurf houses.
Yes.
Obviously not the color of Smurf houses, but it just was otherworldly.
Yes. Yeah, Smurf houses, I think, is a great example of that. I guess they're technically hoodoos.
I don't, but some form of them, yeah. And of course, dog friendly.
Yes.
So, which was good. So Leo got to go with us that day. And there was really no hike among the goblins. You just go down there and just wander around. You could climb on them. You can go up above where Rob, Suzanne, and Scott went up on this big hill. Could look down on them. And of course, the parking area, you'd look down on them. And then you go down into them and walk amongst them. So definitely a worthy excursion to go to. Now, if you're not pulling a 35-foot fifth wheel,
Yeah.
and you're leaving Capitol Reef and you're going to the Moab area, that's the route you can take.
Yes.
And you could take a little side trip on your way to Capitol Reef, or not Capitol Reef, to Arches and Canyonlands in the Moab area. So if you're doing the Mighty Five, it would be a very quick, I think you could probably do it in an hour and a half. Go stop on, and see the goblins.
Yep, and if you wanted to stay at night, they have a little campground inside of the state park, and it looked like it was big rig friendly.
Yeah.
So you could even stay a night, do the park, and then head on to your next destination.
That's right.
All right, there you go. Episode 50 is now in the books as we are traversing the Mighty Five in Utah. We're recording from Colorado, and by the time you see us next, we'll be almost on the East Coast. It seems like the Southeast Coast, because we are about to move, man.
We are going to be moving. Yeah, we're picking up the pace.
So if you want to keep up with us, you got to stick to Instagram. But otherwise, you'll get the videos. You'll get episode 51, 52, all the way down. We're just going to be way away from these places when the videos are released. But we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, all that good stuff, so that you can learn a little bit about what we've done, and maybe it'll inspire you to come see some of the things that we've been blessed to be able to see. So for Ann, I am Scott. Episode 50 is a wrap. Don't forget, everybody, do it today.